clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, here we go. Subway Sports Talk. My name is Peter Kennedy, and I am your host. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to SST on Apple Podcasts app, Spotify, and on YouTube. Right here, right now, the Subway Series is back. Subway Sports Talk is covering it. We got to talk about this New York Yankees team and the issues that are very, very real with their offense. Are the answers out there? Are the answers on the team? And how bad has this thing gotten? Plus, on the Mets front, even though they're playing better baseball, what do they need to do? What do they need to continue to play good ball and actually make themselves a real player in this wild card race and into the playoffs? But let's start with the New York Yankees, because things have gotten ugly here for the New York Yankees. And that's a very specific ugly for this team. Because if you look at their record, as we currently sit here today, yeah, they're 60-42. It's a damn good record, but it does not tell the whole story. Because if you look through it, June 13th, just over a month ago, about a month and 10 days ago exactly, 49-21. Now they're 60-42. Do your quick math. 11-21 in that stretch. 10 games under 500. And trickling down, they're below the Orioles in the AL East, which only a game and a half back, of course. But they're in that wild card slot now, and there's a big time reason for it. We've talked about it before, and we're going to talk about it again. This offense is so dependent on Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, and there is nobody else helping out at all. It's problematic. And in regards to the other teams at the Yankees level, the other top offenses in the league, because if you look at the top offenses in the league currently, still right here on July 23rd, the Yankees are still upper echelon. You may ask how. The answer is simple. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto have been carrying this team. This team also played a lot better earlier in the year. But things are coming together in the wrong way for this offense. So some of the other best offenses in the league, according to OPS, include the Los Angeles Dodgers, Baltimore Orioles, the New York Yankees, I said them, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Boston Red Sox, the Minnesota Twins, and yes, the New York Mets. So we get to compare the Mets and the Yankees here, not just because they're playing the Subway Series starting on Tuesday night, not just because they're crosstown rivals, because the Mets have supplanted themselves as a top-tier offense in MLB. The Yankees are still there by the metrics, but by the eye test and by the balance test, they are not close. They are worse. They are the worst of that bunch and worse than others involved. And here's why. We talk a lot about OPS. That's what I use. It's my go-to standard when it comes to what I'm looking for in an offense or an offensive player, right? You can have a good average and maybe you don't hit for a ton of power. Your OPS will still be decent if you're doing your job. If you're getting on base, your OPS will still be decent. But you could have a okay average, but if you're hitting with a lot of power and driving the baseball and getting on base through walks, your OPS will still be decent, right? It's a simple stat. It's on base percentage plus slugging. If your average is really good, you're probably going to have a pretty good on base percentage. If you hit for power, you're going to have a good slugging percentage, even if your average is a little lacking. It's a great way to see productivity. Are you getting on base to score runs? Or are you driving in runs when they're on base? Simple way to look at it, right? A little bit of a simple type catch-all. It's not advanced analytic. It's just an analytic. It's a good way to look at it. So those top teams, the Dodgers, Orioles, Phillies, Red Sox, Mets, Twins, and of course the Yankees, they have to get there by having players who hit the ball well, right? You don't become a top 7 offense in baseball without hitting the ball well. So when you think about the balance of power, when you think about a lineup and the structure and the way the season goes, when you have injuries and all different things, slumps, all the types of things that a lineup needs, when people just need rest, right? You got guys who take rest, especially with the New York Yankees. You think you need multiple guys who are above average. We're not asking for a ton. We're just asking for guys who are above average. So we're going to start off with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are largely looked at as the best offense in baseball, and the numbers flesh that out, right? They're number one OPS in the MLB. So for reference, they currently, and I used also for reference, I used a 30 game minimum, right? I wasn't going to do the full qualifying minimum for this exercise because it didn't seem fair, right? Because we're about 100 games into the season. I used about 30 because that's at least a month sample size for any individual player, meaning they've played a good chunk of games, right? If you have 12 games, even 19 games, obviously 7, you can have 2 or 3 games that absolutely spike the hell out of your numbers. Like Luis Torrens for the Mets, for example. He had one game where he hit 3 home runs, and that put his OPS to a ridiculous number. Now, since then, he's played about 8 to 10 more games. So his OPS has come down to earth. It's still very good. He's at an 850 range, a 140 OPS plus. Very good, but he's still at 19 games. That 1-3 home run game drastically changes his number. So I used 30. It felt like a happy medium between a qualifying number for like league leaders and things of that nature and enough to just see if a player who plays a decent bit, a full month's worth of baseball in a few months of a season, has been successful or not. So again, with OPS, and I've done this multiple times on the podcast. So if you're a multi-listener, I'm sorry I'm explaining it again, but for anyone who may not understand or may be new to the show, let me just say, OPS, on base plus slugging, not everyone understands what a good number for that is. The general rule of thumb is about the 730 range is about league average, 750 generally speaking about league average, but OPS plus basically gives you a league average based upon the rest of the league. So OPS plus is based on a scale of 100. If you are a 100 OPS plus, you are the exact league average. Okay, so I played 100 games and my OPS plus is 100. I am equal to the exact median or the exact average player in the league. So if you're above 100, you're above average. If you're below 100, you're below average. Very simple, right? So back to the point of this exercise. Went through these top 7 offenses in baseball and wanted to see what that balance of power looks like for these other lineups and a comparison to the New York Yankees. So for reference, the New York Yankees right now have 4 players who have played over 30 games or 30 games or more and have an above 100 OPS plus. Obviously, Aaron Judge is number 1 in the league in this category. Juan Soto is currently number 3 in this category. Stanton, who's played more than enough games and is still above average with a 120 OPS plus. And then Jahmai Jones. Jahmai Jones, how about that? A guy who Yankee fans probably still like, whatever. He is very meh. He's fine. He's been okay. As of right now, as we sit here today, Jahmai Jones is basically the 3rd best hitter because Giancarlo Stanton is out with the injury for this New York Yankees team. Now, Ben Rice doesn't qualify. He just misses it. If you want to say it's 5, go ahead. Yankees got 5. They got 4 because I did 30 games. I didn't mean to exclude Ben Rice on purpose, but I excluded Ben Rice 27 games. His OPS plus is a 112. So he's above average. If you want to call that 5, knock yourself out. That's still Judge, Soto, 1-3 in the league. Electric, right? Stanton's out of the lineup right now. So if you want to even balance that out, Stanton's out. Ben Rice is in. We'll call it 4 again. What about the rest of the league? The Los Angeles Dodgers have the highest team OPS in the entire MLB. They are currently looking at 8 players with an above average OPS. 8 players. Now, you do have Mookie Betts and Max Muncy, who are fantastic, fantastic hitters, who are currently injured. Betts should be back sooner than Muncy. But they're still, in the games that they've played, which Mookie's played 72, Muncy's played 40, they've been well above average. Mookie Betts, one of the best players in baseball, and showing it out still. But you look up and down their lineup, and you see guys like Will Smith in the catcher position giving productivity on offense. Freddie Freeman, a top-tier hitter in the league. You go down. Teoscar Hernandez. Is he having an incredible year? Is he knocking your socks off? Not necessarily, but he's got 20 dingers. He's batting 260. He's getting on base at an okay clip, and he's got a 126 OPS plus. Jason Hayward, the perfect example. If Jason Hayward was on this Yankees team right now, who's batting 205 with a 300 on base percentage in 43 games. 205, 298, 418 slugging percentage. That puts him at a 716. That is league average right now. He's got 101 OPS plus. 101. Jason Hayward's not been great. Jason Hayward would be the 4th best hitter on this Yankees team right now. He's the 8th best hitter on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani is in that judge category. He's number 2 in the whole MLB. 8 guys. That means when you're going up and down a lineup, when an opposing pitcher's staring you down the barrel, you don't have a at-bat off. You don't have an at-bat off. And with the Yankees, you consistently have at-bats off. Not only do you have guys under 100, you have Austin Wells at 92. Gleyber Torres, 82. Volpe dropped all the way down. He's at an 89 OPS plus. He's way under 700 OPS. Oswaldo Cabrera, 77. Verdugo, 82, where he was sitting at 100 for a big portion of the game of the season. Trent Grisham, bad. DJ LeMahieu, worse. Horrible. We know these guys aren't very good, and they haven't been playing very good. That's where they're at. Los Angeles Dodgers, 8. Yankees, 4. What about the Baltimore Orioles, who are obviously the rivalry for the Yankees so far in this season? Well, they got 9 players with an above average OPS plus. 9 players. They also have a good deal of health. When you look up and down their lineup, you see multiple guys with 90 games played already. In fact, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 players who've played 90 games. 7, including their catcher, which, wow, don't get that every day. Yankees be sitting guys just for funsies and still getting hurt. Orioles healthy as a whistle right now. I don't know why whistles are healthy, but you get what I'm saying. And they have 9 players with that OPS plus of over 100 or better. Gunnar Henderson being the highlighter. Anthony Santander hitting a bunch of dingers. He's at 27. Adley Rutschman, one of the better catchers in baseball right now. Jordan Westberg, a guy who I don't know much about. He's got 16 dingers. He's got a 134 OPS plus. Kidding me? Up and down the lineup, even if you go down to the bench guys who've played 57 games and 60 games and 81 games. We're looking at guys from the 105 OPS plus to the 130 OPS plus range. These are the 6th, 7th, and 8th guys on the lineup and 9th guys on the lineup. Right now, the 8th best player on the Orioles offense would be the 4th best on the New York Yankees. I know how good Judge and Soto have been. I spent 30 minutes doing a podcast about exactly how good those two have been. And this is not okay. It's not sustainable. Those two cannot carry all of the downfall of the rest of this lineup. Moving on, the Philadelphia Phillies. They got 7. Philadelphia Phillies got 7. They're one of the best hitting teams in baseball still. They got their catcher performing at a league average level for hitters here. Obviously, Bryce Harper's a beast. Alec Boehm having a good year. Trey Turner's been awesome since he's back from his injury. Kyle Schwarber at the DH, and he's doing his thing. Off the bench, you got a guy like Edmundo Sosa who's played 60 games at a 122 OPS plus. 7 guys. That's 3 extra players, give or take, depending on who's playing night in, night out, who a pitcher is worried about at least a little. The Boston Red Sox, another team right in the same damn division as the New York Yankees. 7 players OPS plus over 100. You got multiple guys. You got your stud in Rafael Devers. You got your catcher playing good in Connor Wong, which is just the catcher position for the Yankees has been just a nothing burger. You got Ref Snyder, who's a guy who's played almost 60 games for the Red Sox. He's got a 134 OPS plus with, only a handful of home runs. It's not like these guys are out here with a big OPS number just because they have 15 home runs and aren't, consistent. Jarren Duran, my guy, has 12 home runs, 10 triples, 30 doubles. He would be the 3rd best player on the Yankees right now. He's about, give or take, tied for the 4th or 5th best hitter right now with the Yankees, with the Red Sox. He's played more, so he has more counting stats for sure. He's been a beast. He's having a very good year. But there are other guys in that lineup who get things done. The New York Mets, right across the hall. We talked about this way earlier in the year when the Yankees were, doing their thing at 49-21, and the Mets were 22-33 or whatever. And we're talking about, damn, Alonso and JD Martinez, who's played 10 games, are the only two guys who are doing anything for this freaking offense. Now you look at the New York Mets, 9 players in the Mets who've played 30-plus games with an OPS over 100. How the tides have turned. I mean, we're looking up and down this lineup every night, and right now the only one who's consistently in the lineup, who's playing every single day basically still, is Jeff McNeil, and he's actually turned it around the last couple games. He's got a below average OPS. Everyone else who's their consistent starter is above 100. You got Alvarez, Alonso, Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo. Bader's just above 100 now. He's playing really consistent ball. He's hitting for some pop. JD Martinez has been good since he's back. Jose Iglesias is crushing balls. He's played over 33 games now, and he's just doing a job. You see Jose Iglesias in the 7-hole for the New York Mets for a whole month now. A whole month. We're not talking about a week and a half. And a pitcher's like, damn, another one. I can't rest. I got to get this guy out. He's been on base all day. Yankees don't have that. The Minnesota Twins, the long-standing punching bag of the New York Yankees, 7 players in their lineup with an OPS plus over 100. It's just ridiculous. At this point, it's not even funny anymore. It's not even a Mets fan poking fun at the Yankee fan. Yankee fans are feeling the heat. This is not sustainable, and somehow, some way, due to a wonderful start, this team is still in a great position. An absolute great position. Now, the question is there an answer for this New York Yankee team to change up the mojo, to get the offense back on track? Because it has to be one of two things. Players who are currently playing, who are on the team already, have to turn their whole ass season around and get this thing going. Or you have to make a trade, and it has to hit quickly and make a huge difference on this lineup. So what are the options? Internally, there's 2 good ones. Giancarlo Stanton needs to get healthy, which is something that you can't really rely on. But if he's back in that lineup and playing like he was before, which wasn't off the charts, but he was driving the baseball and made a huge difference in this offense. There's not a coincidence that Giancarlo Stanton got hurt on June 22nd and the Yankees drop-off started on June 13th. I mean, it started with him still in the lineup. He got hurt, and it got worse. The other thing is Anthony Volpe. To start off this year, Anthony Volpe was killing it. Killing it. For his whole season right now, Anthony Volpe's stats have dropped all the way down to 249 with a 304 on-base percentage, a 372 slugging percentage, which puts him at 676 for OPS. That's 89 OPS plus. Well, listen to how this drop-off has gone. In April/March, he's played 30 games. He had 3 home runs, 7 stolen bags. He had an OPS of 757. Very good. Good start. May, even better. Still 3 home runs, couple more triples, couple more doubles, couple bags stolen still. He's batting 290 with a 350 on-base percentage and 812 OPS. Volpe was a factor, key factor in that 49 and 21 record. But unfortunately in June, Volpe hit a rough patch, and right in line with Stanton getting hurt and this team hitting a weird, terrible run of offense, Volpe's a key contributor to this slump. Starting in June, he batted 220 with a 238 on-base percentage. Now, on average, I'm not on average, but on like a great number, you want to see your on-base percentage about 100 points higher than your average. His is 18 points higher. I mean, you want to see at least 50 or 60 points higher from the on-base to the average. You got to get on base through a walk every once in a while. 18 points higher. A 238 on-base percentage for your table setter. Only 4 steals in that month. No home runs. Couple doubles, couple triples. Not nearly good enough. Now, he started okay now since the All-Star break. It's only been a couple games. He's doing some things here. His numbers in July are still terrible. In fact, worse than June. He's batting 175 in 15 games in July. And that's with playing better and hitting a home run here in after the All-Star break. He has to be better. Anthony Volpe has to do more for this team to be successful. You're going to look at some options to trade for. Well, if Volpe's still batting 220 with a 240 on base percentage, playing every single day at shortstop, he needs to be back in the 9 hole. What are we doing here? And it shows out over time. In wins, which a lot more of those came in the first 2 months of the season. I mean, Volpe's batting 260. 5 of his 6 or 7 home runs are in wins. And in losses, he's batting 230 with a 280 on base percentage, with an OPS that's almost 200 points less than it is in wins. His success is imperative to this team. And do you want to say that you should be relying on a second-year shortstop to carry the offense? Maybe not. Some other young shortstops in the league are doing a mighty good job at it. He's not there yet, and that's okay. But if he is not there, you should not be relying on him. And right now, he looks like the best option to turn things around and spark this offense. The other one's Stanton. Stanton gets healthy and is playing like he was before. That's going to help tremendously. But out on the market, the trade market, what's out there? You need a third baseman. DJ LeMahieu's been terrible. You could use a second baseman. Is John Birdie going to come back from injury and save the day? Doesn't seem like it to me. So who else is out there? Luis Renfigo. That's a name that's going around. Angels third baseman. He's having a nice year. He's batting over 300. Got a couple home runs. Not a huge power hitter, but he's hitting his fair share of doubles. He's only played 60, 70 games this year. His OPS is a 124. OPS plus a 124. He's at 800. He'd be the third best hitter on this team. The third best hitter on this team would be Luis Renfigo right now. The other options out there. Isaac Paredes from the Rays. He'd easily be the third best hitter on this team right now. Now, obviously, there's only one player who can crack the top 2. Unless the Yankees get Shohei Ohtani, no one could become a top 2 hitter on this team. And the third hitter is not exactly a high bar. But getting someone like Luis Renfigo or Isaac Paredes, that would change a lot. The question is, are those guys actually going to be traded? Are the Yankees willing to give up prospects to get those players? These are serious questions. Because if Paredes is on the market, he's the Rays' best hitter so far this year. He was just an all-star. That means he's getting too expensive for the Rays. Right? We know how the Rays work. They also tend to get rid of players who they don't think are worth keeping. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Are these guys the answer? Is Jazz Chisholm from the Marlins the answer? I don't know. He has an OPS plus over 100. He'd be above average. He's a good player overall. He's had up and down seasons offensively throughout his career. He's a player, though. He's someone you got to take serious at the dish. He's a guy who can do things with his feet. Same with Renfigo. Renfigo's got 22 bags this year. Chisholm's got 19 bags this year. Every little thing counts for this team. Every little thing. But what I don't believe in is that they're going to be willing to part ways with their prospects that they love so much, who all have issues. I mean, Dominguez just got hurt after the injury. Spencer Jones striking out more than the Yankees' actual team. Their pitching prospects, a bunch of them are hurt. What are we doing here? Are you getting this type of third baseman? Are you getting the best infielder on the market? Are you getting a Jazz Chisholm at age 26 in a trade and then going to keep him? You're going to give up somebody like Spencer Jones for a rental? I don't know. I don't see it. The Yankees haven't been doing things like that all the time. They'll do it. They usually don't want a rental. And are they really going to be wanting somebody who they need to pay a lot when they're clearly getting ready to write a massive check to Juan Soto? This offensive issue for the Yankees is super real. It's not hyperbole. It's not shitting on the Yankees for the fact of shitting on the Yankees. Their offense stinks. 2 players are absolutely still keeping them relevant offensively, but you cannot rely on this forever. if Volpe don't turn it around, if Stanton don't get healthy, if one of these names doesn't end up on the Yankees, this team's in for a long couple months. They got a couple soft spots in the schedule here. They're still winning their fair share of games. They're going to probably still be a playoff team. But all the actual talk about the negativity of their offense is absolutely for real. And let's talk about the Mets quickly. This is supposed to be a 25-minute podcast. We're already at 25 minutes or so. So let's talk about the Mets for 5 minutes here, and then we'll say goodbye. Because right now, for what I'm trying to do more so on Subway Sports Talk here, is talk to you guys a little more frequently with a little bit of these shorter topics, right? 1 or 2 topics a show, 20 to 30 minutes, quick hitters, mini pods, if you will, and still do that one bigger pod once a week, right? At least for the rest of the summer. And then with football back, we'll obviously kind of play with that schedule a little bit more once we hit September. But that was the Yankees topic. Now let's talk about the New York Mets. New York Mets, exact opposite situation of the New York Yankees, where, you know, Yankees hitters like Verdugo and Volpe and Stanton, who were all still very relevant and fairly successful in that first bunch of games of the season, you know, the first month and a half, 2 months. The Mets had the opposite. Like, most of their hitters weren't successful in those first month or two. Now, as we just went through it, they got 9 different players who are playing above the vest, above the chest, above average. That's really good. They're doing it. But they're not flawless. They're playing great ball. They're 29-15 in their last 44 games. I mean, on May 29th, they were 22-33. Now, July 22nd, they're 51-48. A massive upgrade. 29-15 in their last 42. The exact opposite of the New York Yankees. They're 3 back of the Braves from the top wildcard spot and obviously in the NL East. But they're not perfect. They got their issues. Their issues just happen to be not with offense right now. Even with a Starling Marte still hurt, who was playing pretty good ball this year, even with, you know, Beatty not working out and getting sent down, Vientos came up and did more than a job. Has been awesome to have around. Jose Iglesias has been an incredible lad. I mean, Jose Iglesias, my lord, batting .390 over his first 34 games with the Mets. .390. And he is hitting for some power. He has a couple home runs. He's got his 9 doubles. He's got his first triple in the bag. Jose Iglesias has been a dog. But their issues are more so on the pitching front. We know about their injuries when they got Reed Garrett, Sean Reed Foley, Drew Smith, Brooks Raley. All these guys are out. Some for long, some for shorter, but all these guys, relievers, are out. The relievers have been doing a decent job, though. Denel Nunez is doing great. Buto's been awesome to have in the pen. We know Edwin Diaz has been a little up and down, but he's been better. Ottavino, bad numbers, but still pretty reliable. Diekman, not as much so. The bullpen is not great, but it's better than it seemed it was earlier in the year. This question mark for me is the starting rotation. So right now, Luis Severino's been really freaking good. We know he's been the best starter on this team. You've got a bunch of decent starts out of Minaya. You've got some decent starts out of Quintana. You've seen some decent work out of Christian Scott here and there. And David Peterson probably deserves the biggest shout because they haven't lost one of his starts yet. Or he hasn't picked up a loss yet, but they've won 8 of his starts in a row. That's fantastic. But there's something that's super important to the Mets trying to become a contender. And what that is Kodai Senga, who it's been now announced he might make his return this week on Friday, his first start. And the Mets might run a 6-man rotation to help him, to help guys like Christian Scott, to help guys like Severino, who are racking up innings. I mean, Severino's already at 115 innings pitched this year, which is great. It's been great. But Kodai Senga's back Friday. And his ability to look like Kodai Senga from the second half of last season can help this team look like a real contender. Can help this team look like someone who does not want to be seen, or like a team that does not want to be seen come October. Kodai Senga was truly a Cy Young candidate last year. He got hurt, has missed the entire season to this point, And with all the question marks about the bullpen and the amount of agita that the bullpen gives every single time they have to close out a game, I get it that hurts, and that's still a question mark to an extent, but there are enough guys in this pen right now that I feel good. Even Phil Maton has been like a decent ad since he's been traded over. The starting rotation, Quintana, Manaea, Scott, Peterson, you don't feel awesome, right? But how much better would you feel if Kodai Senga becomes a number one again, like he was last year and continues to do after this injury? Now, I'm not saying you should expect him to throw, 7 or 8 shutout innings on his first start back, obviously. Work him back right. But his return would be equivalent to Anthony Volpe returning to form for the New York Yankees. If Anthony Volpe starts hitting, 285 for the next month, that's pretty much the equivalent of Kodai Senga coming out every 5 or 6 days and throwing quality starts. That would change the game. And even if then someone else gets moved down to the pen, stretch out those arms even a little bit more, share the sugar, spread the wealth with the arms in this Mets rotation and pen, he can change the math completely. Because how do you feel right now with Severino being the most reliable starter, everyone else being a mixed bag? Hey, it's been working for about a month and a half or 2 months. It's been working pretty damn good. But how would you feel if you have Senga and Severino doing exactly that, being a stopper, quality start after quality start, striking people out in big moments? Kodai Senga has a chance to turn this team into a player. He's back Friday, 6-man rotation for the time being. And I'll tell you what, I'm damn excited to watch the damn Ghost Fork again. I've been playing some MLB The Show. And in Road to the Show, you're playing a bunch of games in a row. And you play a lot of different pitchers. A lot of the pitchers start to kind of blend. When a guy throws 95 with a sinker and a circle change, there's like 14 of them every month you play, right? I'll tell you one pitch that just, it as soon as you see it. It's Kodai Senga's forkball. Jeez Louise. The guy messes me up in the show. So it's been scratching my itch to watch him pitch me against me in the MLB The Show, and I'm dying to see it again in the Mets orange and blue. Dying to see it again. Oh my God. Well, hopefully the Mets hitters continue, and if Jeff McNeil's little run in Miami is real, watch out, because this team can hit up and down the lineup. Up and down. It's incredible to watch. All right, Subway Sports Talk. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on your podcast app. This was a not so short one. We'll be back more times this week, multiple times this week. That's the plan right now, multiple times a week. Thank you so much for listening. Every listen counts. Pass it on to your peoples. Tell your friends. We're talking football soon. We got baseball cooking. Probably talk some Olympic basketball at some point. Can't wait for all this stuff. And the Subway Sports Talk starts tonight. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, if you're listening on Wednesday, it already started. But shout out. And yeah, man. We're going to keep pushing over here on Subway Sports Talk. So thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow or the next day. Whenever you want to listen, we're here for you, baby. And we're going to try to keep pushing out that content. It's what we do. Also, Friday mornings on Radio Garden State, brand new 24/7 live streaming radio station. Go to radiogardenstate.com. Subway Sports Talk plays 9 a.m.s on Friday on Radio Garden State. Also, so much good content there covering music, all from New Jersey artists, restaurants, places to go, people to see, things to learn about. Really cool stuff from my guy, Mike Ham. Check out Radio Garden State. But Subway Sports Talk right here. You know what to do. Subscribe, rate, review. Hit us on social at Subway Sports Talk. And I'm Pete Kennedy, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers.